Welcome to the 10th and last session of A Bridge Over Troubled Waters. This presentation is for parents, caregivers and professionals, especially those who are working with children and teenagers who are stressed and/or distressed, thus causing concern for the adults in their life, whether caregivers, friends of the family or professionals. There are 10 sessions, all free and available through Facebook. This session, session 10, is about putting it all together. The last 9 sessions, plus a few more helpful strategies and where to now. I hope you enjoy it. A Bridge Over Troubled Waters. You've now covered 9 sessions and you're on the last. Session 1 was an introduction about what we know about what works. Session 2 was simply about getting started and a few basic bits and pieces. Session 3 really stressed leading by example. Session 4, we looked at how to engage and re-engage with the young person. Session 5 looked at boundaries. That was quite a difficult session. Session 6, we looked at the role of praise and understanding and how to do those things. Session 7, we looked again at what works and also problem solving. Session 8, we looked at what we think we might do when we're about to lose it, because dealing with difficult children can be pretty tricky. Session 9, we looked at contracts and rosters. And now here we are at session 10, the last and final session. Well done for getting this far. This slide will be familiar to you. We know what works. The absolute bare minimum for a parent is for them to be predictable, always follow through, be consistent, and only lead by example. Provide clear boundaries, be clear about what they can do, what they can't do, what sort of thing you are prepared to discuss. Make sure you have adequate support to be able to manage your young person, if not fix it. The earlier the intervention, the more likelihood of appropriate change taking place. Get in early, the earlier the better. Everyone involved with the young person needs to be on the same page. This includes everyone in the house, everyone at school. It also includes family and friends who visit or where you visit. Everyone the young person comes into contact with needs to be on the same page. All interventions should be both age and culturally appropriate for the young person and their family. One size does not fit all. We know that scared straight and boot camp style interventions don't work for distressed young people. Interestingly, randomized trials have shown that there is an actual increase in the risk of crime and other poor behavior, together with a significant mental health deterioration. We know that interventions, strategies and programs that assist the parent, the caregiver, and the young person to re-engage, build respect and increase the emotional bank account work well, and that has been what the interventions in these sessions have been about. A word about love. Love is about giving time, understanding, effort and attention, and having the courage and convictions to be honest with that person, all bound up with love and kindness. Be prepared to monitor and track your child's behaviour, understanding exactly what is going on for them. Check, check, check. Know what they are up to at all times, whether they are 3 or 14. Actually, especially if they're 14, 15, 16. Always give clear instructions. Instructions that work can make a difference. And remember to try and write everything down for them. Focus attention away from antisocial behaviour to pro-social behaviour. Make sure you're reinforcing appropriate behaviours. Never miss a trick. Respond appropriately to any antisocial or negative behaviours. You can use planned ignoring, natural consequences, removal of privileges, and only minimal time out. If you use time out, make sure that you keep it very short. Time out otherwise is going to be used as just an opportunity for your young person to plot against you. Ensure that you keep one step ahead. Anticipate. Have plans as to how to solve and respond to problems you are likely to encounter. Build the relationship and the emotional bank accounts. Never do anything that makes you lose the moral high ground. Lead only and absolutely by example, no matter how much you are pushed. Do have fun playing, understanding what good play looks like and feels like for you and your young person. And getting to a compliance. There are ways to do this. We just need to find out what will work for you and your young person. There are more ideas around all of this in the book, A Bridge Over Troubled Waters by Joy Sylvia. Remember this one? Tools for both you and the other adults around, and for your children or teenagers. If you want them to be able to regulate their emotional responses, you have to demonstrate these tools first. If you would like a copy of this diagram, simply email me and I will send you a copy that you can print off. Saying sorry is a really brilliant tool. There is no easy way to do this. Basically, if you did wrong, you need to fess up. Do it well, do it once, and make sure you don't need to do it again. Again, have a look at how we do it here, and then make it easy for your child to get it right. Copy it out, use prompts, lead by example, show them how it works. Let them catch you using the formula. So saying sorry appropriately is a great skill for a young person to have. By working out and specifying what they have learnt from the action they are saying sorry for, will assist the brain to work better next time a similar situation arises. So this is how it goes, step by step. So first of all, say sorry. I'm sorry. Say exactly what you're sorry for. I'm sorry that I told lies about you. Say why you did it. I'm sorry that I told lies about you. I don't know exactly why I did it. I think I thought it was a bit clever at the time. Say how you think it made the other person feel. I'm sorry that I told lies about you. I don't know exactly why I did it. I think I did it because it was a bit clever at the time. I can see it really upset you. Say what you've learnt from what you did. I'm sorry that I told lies about you. I don't know exactly why I did it. I think I did it because I thought it was a bit clever at the time. I can see it really upset you, and what I've learned is that it was really a cruel thing to do. Say what you're prepared to do about it now. I'm sorry that I told lies about you. I don't know exactly why I did it. I think I thought it was a bit clever at the time. I can see it really upset you, and what I've learned is that it was a really cruel thing to do. I know I need to make this right, or as right as I can, so I have written a letter to the people I have told those things to, saying that they're not true. I have made a time to meet with them and give them the letter and tell them in person what I did was wrong. And finish with a summary. So this would be the whole thing in one go. I'm sorry that I told lies about you. I don't know exactly why I did it. I think I thought it was a bit clever at the time. I can see I really upset you and what I've learned is that it was a really cruel thing to do. I know I need to make this right, or as right as I can, so I have written a letter to the people I have told those things to, saying that they're not true. I have made a time to meet with them, give them the letter, and tell them in person that what I did was wrong. I know I can't make this right, but I am sorry for the trouble I have caused you. One of my all-time favourites, pulling it all together stories. Lynn and Fetu. Lynn and Fetu had been caregivers for Child, Youth and Family for 3 years. Mostly things had gone smoothly. They usually had up to 3 foster young people in their home, plus their own 2 twins who were 4 years old. They currently had Netta, 12 years, Diesel 10 years, and Gordy 6 years. Netta had been with them since they first became caregivers, and Gordy had been with them for 2 years. Although there had been difficult times with both children, Lynn and Fetu managed to sort it out. Diesel, who had recently arrived, seemed to be a different story. Diesel had been moved from placement to placement for all sorts of reasons, but most likely because he was very oppositional and hyperactive, despite being on medication for his ADHD. When we looked at all the changes, all the stress, all the confusion, all the insecurity, and all the poor role models this little man had had to deal with, it was clear why his stress tank was full and his behaviours wild. Everything was full to bursting point for him. That was even before he got out of bed each day. The slightest thing set him off. Everything felt threatening and frightening to him. He never trusted he would do anything good, and the poor wee fellow was probably wondering when he would get kicked out of this home and moved somewhere else. Action Lynn and Fetu took. Diesel was 10 years old, so Fetu took him out to the garage and had a game of skittles with him, making sure nothing could possibly get knocked over or broken. Out in the garage, Fetu had an old blackboard and some chalk. He let Diesel win a couple of times, and then he wanted to show him something on the blackboard. Fetu drew up a stress tank, a big tank, and then he said, "I think this is what is happening for you. What do you think?" Diesel's eyes got big and round. He said, "Yes," he said, "I go bang when the stress tank gets filled up." They went and got Lynn, and Netta came out too. They talked about it briefly and looked at ways to turn a tap on that would let some of the stress out. They went for exercise. Fetu would go running with him every other day, starting at 15 minutes and working up to 45 minutes, non-competitive, looking at technique. Fetu promised him he would talk that evening to an old army friend of his and see if his friend could come round and show Diesel and Fetu a 10-minute exercise plan that Diesel could use any time he felt upset or unhappy. Breathing. Lynn knew that breathing could help, so she suggested that Diesel and her look up some ideas on the internet. A hobby. Diesel had always wanted to play the guitar. Fetu played the harmonica, that's the mouth organ, but they didn't have a guitar. They said they would think about this. Netta suggested Diesel might like a quiet space, a space that was just his. Not his bedroom, though, because that was where he used to be sent when he was naughty before he came to live with Lynn and Fetu. She pointed out that the house is pretty noisy with all the wee kids. They asked Netta if she thought her tank was full. She told them that she doesn't explode, but hers oozes. She isolates herself, sobs, and used to self-harm. Not as much now, but when she first arrived, and before then, she did that a lot. What actually happened? I'd like to be able to say that Diesel turned into a saint overnight, but I can't. However, I can say that Diesel is still with them and is about to go to university in February, March next year. The army friend came round and showed Diesel how to do push-ups, squats, burpees properly. He then made a date with Diesel to do a longer workout with him twice a week. It takes a village to raise a child. Diesel felt really important. He would do his routine at the drop of a hat to show off, and this would often stop a temper tantrum in its tracks. Diesel was not fussed about the breathing. It did calm him, and he would do it for Lynn, but that was because he wanted to please her. However, he used it as a young adult, before starting a test or an exam, or when he had something difficult to say. Diesel and Fetu built a low, safe treehouse, especially for Diesel. Diesel loved it, and it was a great place for him to go at his choice to calm down. Would you like a bit of time in the treehouse, Diesel? Was all they needed to say. The running. Fetu got very fit. Diesel topped the cross country and ran for the school. Later he joined a running group. But over the years, Fetu and Diesel have managed to keep their every other day running up all these years. Fetu is glad he made it non-competitive. The guitar. Shortly after the garage meeting, Lynn and Fetu put Diesel on a contract come roster, with 5 good days equaling a guitar lesson. They borrowed a guitar initially, an old dunger of a one, in case it got broken. But as he was as careful as he could possibly be, they bought him a new one for his birthday 6 months later. The exercise helped the stress. The good things helped slowly make him feel happier, and the predictability follow-through helped him to feel safe. He gradually felt really included. They did take him for some counselling to help him with some of his past yuckies, and the GP did a good job monitoring his ADHD. Slowly, he became less oppositional. And we'll end this session with my favourite diagram. Again, if you want a copy to print out, simply email me. So these sessions have only been a very small part of what you would find in the book. The easiest and the cheapest way to get the book is to go through Amazon and purchase the ebook, which comes to about $7.50 New Zealand. However, if you would like a copy of the book as a PDF, I'm happy to email you that for $5 New Zealand. Thank you for following these sessions. I wish you all the very best with your young person. Kia kaha. For more information about this program and these sessions, simply check Facebook, Joy U Sylvia, or email joy@joysylvia1@gmail.com. If you found these sessions interesting and or useful, please do leave a comment, and please pass them on to your friends and family anywhere you think they might be useful. Thank you. Here are the 4 books that I currently have published. They're all available on Amazon, or you can go to my website if you wish to purchase them locally. So we have A Bridge Over Troubled Waters, a guide for managing tricky teenage behaviours. It is easy to follow and apply and has been designed to equip both the caregiver and the professional with effective strategies for the seemingly relentless onslaught of difficult and sometimes frightening behaviours caregivers and professionals have to manage in today's society. The diagrams, together with the insightful real-life stories of parents working through the material, bring about an attitude and belief that change is indeed possible. Say No to Bullying: Factors, Challenges and Strategies. This book helps the weak become strong and the supposedly tough become true heroes. This is a book about a nasty and vicious topic that will warm the cockles of your heart. It is amazingly easy to read and hard to put down. Whether the players in these intricate and often complex bullying situations are primary school age children, teenagers, parents, work colleagues, staff, or residents in a rest home, this book explains how to deal with it and how to help the players grow, feel good about themselves and their actions, and find appropriate power. Dealing with difficult people, managing conflict, bloody-mindedness, and other intercommunicational difficulties at home and at work. Heaps of information, diagrams, and life stories to help you deal appropriately with and confidently with those difficult people in your life who misuse power, threaten, and or play mind games. Project Alpha. This is an exciting New Zealand-based adventure mystery series for young teens, so about 10 years to 14 years old. The plot involves the kidnapping of the Project Alpha CEO, with the baddies intent on stealing 3 active satellites, disabling the worldwide GPS system, and generally attempting to take over the world. So the odds are heavily stacked against Jimmy and his band of oddball adults, including the FBI, NASA, Interpol, and several New Zealand Defence Force representatives. Jimmy's mission is to save the world and capture the bad guys. Jimmy's mum has sent him to stay with his Uncle Ben, an astrophysicist and computer games designer, who lives in a remote part of the West Coast Alpine region on the station that houses the observatory and the labs of Project Alpha. As an experienced social worker with a passion for personal and community development, I have particularly enjoyed the ability to weave narrative that can surreptitiously help young people deal with anxiety, difficult backgrounds, new situations, learn how to problem solve, and take appropriate self-responsibility.